It's 12:30. Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Igor Akpovo. I am an instructional design consultant here in the Office of Online Learning and Academic Programs. If you're joining us today for the first time, welcome, and I hope you enjoy today's session. And if this is not the first time, I want to thank you for always supporting our program. I am joined today by my colleague, Chris Emberton. He's going to be helping me moderate, Chris. I am excited to introduce to you our new AVP for online learning, Josh Steele. He started late March. Josh, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, thank you so much, Igor, and hello, everyone. It's great to be here. I'm really excited for today's talk. I have not had the chance to meet a lot of you yet. I have met a couple, but I look forward to doing that in the near future. And I really want to thank Dr. Delia Zunino and Professor Stevens for sharing their insights on experiential learning in a virtual environment, such an important topic. And I'm really looking forward to learning more and hearing from their expertise. So thank you, Igor.
Thanks, Josh. And so though we have a great session, I would like the speakers introduce themselves first. Renee, would you like to go first?
Sure. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for having me. I've been teaching at UT for 22 years, and I teach Italian. I teach different types of courses, beginners, intermediate, and advanced. And it's always a pleasure to try to scandalize my students in my classes to push them to learn the language.
Thank you. Brian?
Thank you for having me here today. I first started going to UT back in 2001 for undergraduate. I did my graduate work at UT in 2010 and started teaching at that point and became faculty at UT in, I believe, 2014. Those yearly, everyone maybe knows what I'm talking about. That's how I kind of track how many years I've been working for UT. But I must say, when I tell students or when I tell people I work at UT, I tell people I work at probably the best university that I've been to two so far, but it's really an honor to be here at UT. And I think what we're doing, especially in the realm of online education, is really pushing the boundaries. And I hope we can continue to do that because I'm wearing if you can tell, this is my UT shirt, Vol for Life shirt. It's great to be at Tennessee Vol. So thank you very much for having me.
Thanks, Brian. Before I hand it over to Renee, I would like to let you all know that our last brown bag is next Friday. And after that, we are going to resume our brown bags in the fall semester. And right now we are in the process of recruiting faculty who would like to lead some of our sessions next semester. And you will be receiving an email from me within the next week asking you if you want to come back, or if you know of someone that you can recommend that would be willing to lead one of our sessions. So again, thank you for being here. And so I'm going to hand it over now to Renee.
Okay, thank you. I can share my screen, yes? Okay. So there's so much that I would love to share with you and so little time. I just want to say that I was very fortunate that about 6 years ago, OIT offered me the opportunity to create a beginner's Italian intensive online course for the very first time, the very first course we offered online in our program. And it was a huge endeavor, I must say, but it was very successful. I've been offering it now for 6 summers in a row. And it was exactly what I needed to have in order to flawlessly move all the classes from face-to-face to online for all the classes in the Italian program last year when COVID hit us. So the one question about learning online is, how on earth am I going to offer my Italian students the opportunity to live the language the way I want them to, and I'm usually able to allow them to do when we are meeting face-to-face? Experiencing a foreign language for me means to live it. And in order to live it, you have to be there. You have to be in medias res. You have to be in the middle of things, because if you're not in the middle of things, then you're not really there. And I want my students, to live the Italian kind of life. So, we all know that it's easier to learn a foreign language when we are in the country of a foreign language. But, of course, you're going to have the struggles and fears and intimidation of daring to speak. daring to express yourself. But I always tell my students, I want you to feel challenged. I want you to feel the same struggle and intimidation that you might feel if you were in the market in Florence purchasing a hat, or in a boutique in Rome buying a shirt or whatever. And I will allow you to experience that through images. So I try to find very beautiful high definition images. I blow them up full screen online for them. And I tell them, just close your eyes for a second, open your eyes, look at the screen, see where you are, and talk to me. So the first thing I would like to tell you all is images are really, really important because they really can stimulate people with their imagination. And then I take them further and I say, what do you know about the Italian culture? Talk to me. Tell me what you know, if there's anything at all. And always someone will talk about food or music or movies or travel. Someone will say, I know Mamma Mia, I know pizza, I know the word bellissimo. And that's fine, okay? Everybody knows something. And then I bring up the positive stereotyping, and they look at me as if I were scandalizing them. And they're telling me, ooh, are we going to generalize here? And I'm saying, yes. Tell me what you think about the Italians. Give me some kind of positive stereotype. They gesticulate a lot. This is what my students say. They gesticulate a lot. The men wear tight pants. The Italians tend to love their family a lot. The grandmas all love to cook. The Italians eat with passion. They gesticulate. Okay, so of course, if I asked you, all of you would have some kind of positive stereotype for the Italians as well, guaranteed. Why do I do this little practice? And I do it with all of my students, no matter whether they are beginners, intermediates, or advanced. I tell them, come on, let's have fun. Let's use some humor, because humor can help you learn a foreign language. It can help you lower your expectations on yourself. You can mock your own mispronunciation. You can feel silly about saying "si" by pulling up your hand and making a fist like this and just telling me or us to our face "si," because this "si" has a lot more meaning than a passive "si," which is what we don't want to hear. And so the humor allows them also to be creative. And they will be the first ones to tell me, oh my goodness, I had my first nightmare in Italian, which is wonderful. It is glorious. And I love this quote by the linguist Sean Patrick Hopwood. He says, comedy is usually lost through translation, but mispronouncing words for comic effect or using them out of context while also being able to laugh at the mistakes you've made is one of the challenges of foreign language learning. Like the confusion in the use of the words thong and tong, which my husband, who's French, can still not pronounce. Using humor removes the hesitancy when speaking in a foreign language, and it helps lighten the mood. So, as you can see, this is kind of the setting for my classes. What happens next? I ask my students to reinvent themselves. They love it. They love it. They love it. They become somebody brand new, and they can choose whoever they want to be. Alex, my beginner, he wants to be a gondolier in Venice. And so he changes his name to Giovanni. He loves his job for whatever reasons. But the most important thing is that after the second week of Italian 111 beginners, he's going to show up to class with a striped shirt and a hat. He's going to do a 1-minute presentation. And eventually by week 15, he will be the gondolier of Venice, and he will be telling class interesting things like, guys, did you know that in order to be a gondolier in Venice, you have to be born there? You cannot drive a gondola otherwise. Or I will have Catherine, who becomes Mariangela. She's a student of medicine at Università di Firenze, and she loves leather. And she's going to take us down a wonderful tour of the markets and tell us all about her new self and her second job of creating purses. Or I have groups sometimes, like I had Guglielmo and Marco, who decided to be bakers in Bologna, driving their bikes, starting their morning with a double espresso. And these are in the intermediate advanced. And so they are ready to start talking about important issues like what do you need to do to become a baker in Italy today? What are the prerequisites? How much does a baker make? Me as a foreigner, this is Guglielmo was Senegalese, and he says, "Okay, I'm in Abruzzo, and what are they going to think of me as a baker?" So you also get to really discuss interesting issues or topics, even on diversity. So the presentation starts, as I told you, beginners 111 with 1 minute, and all I want them to do is pretend to be somebody else. And they use an accent, an inflection, pronunciation, originality, vocabulary. They are graded this way, but you would be surprised what they are able to do in 60 seconds. The delivery is amazing and it is hilarious. Once the character is created, they stick with the character. They might want to change the character mid-semester, but usually once they've embraced the kind of job they're doing in Italy, they like to bring it all the way through till the end of the semester. And by week 15, they write a composition. And this exercise of positive psychology prepares them to accept themselves as Italians, and they like to defend the things that Italians do and that Americans don't like. Like the Americans don't like the healthcare system in Italy because it's socialist. And there they are, ready to defend the Italian side of the story, and so many other different topics. So they love reinventing themselves, and this is a fun activity that really breaks the ice and creates a nice, fun, interesting, and relaxing atmosphere. I want to show you a snippet because sometimes images are worth 1,000 words. This is Ethan and Daniel.
News Channel, Auto. Buonasera, Milano.
So that's just to show you the result of what they are creating together. Here is another result. Let's see if I can show you this one. This is Ryan, John, and Michael. And one of them was a curator at a museum. That was his job of choice as an Italian. The other one was an ecologist studying the effects of acid rains. And another one was a historian. And they're very creative.
Buonasera ognuno. Siamo 2900 la nozia di
So there you go. They have portrayed their Italian selves in a newscast. And then you have other students who want to work on their own. They don't care too much for working with groups, and this is all online, so it's their choice to get together or not. And she embraces all sorts of interesting topics about Italian cinema. She's into the horror genre and the mystique and the bizarre. And so they're just, very interesting. They become almost documentaries of what they have experienced. So at this point, you already feel the energy of these kids. They are excited and they are very much into the projects themselves. At a certain point of, what was it, spring 2020, when we moved online, we didn't need energy, we needed relaxation. And so I was very lucky because I had in one of my classes a yoga professional. She was auditing and I asked her, if she could please give us 10 minutes of yoga, breathing and relaxation during class. And I had no idea that this would open up a whole new universe for me. Every Wednesday, 10 minutes during class, we did our breathing techniques. She learned all the words that she needed to use with the students. And by the time spring was over, my summer class came along. I contacted my cousin Francesca in Italy, who is a yoga master, and I told her, we are going to do yoga. This is going to be an extracurricular for everybody. They are going to learn the imperative command in Italian, which is usually something we start learning in the advanced classes by the end of their beginner's course. And so we had our yoga sessions, and not everybody participated, but this was a typical Friday after the class, and you can see people were there. So it was a very fun experience for them, and it gave them the opportunity to use the language in a different setting. Also, another activity that is very catchy for the Italian students is cooking. Everybody kind of loves to cook, or if they don't like to cook, they at least like to eat. So one of my students asked if she could become the host of a cooking show. And I said, by all means. We have here Ceci Ornelas, and she was presenting, I want to say every 2 or 3 days, we had her having a guest. And the guest would be people like Cristoforo here.
Ciao, mi chiamo Chris e oggi cucino una pasta della cena. Primo, io metto l'acqua nella fuori e la pasta è pronta. Mangio la pasta con il bicchiere del vino. Ultimo, ascolto la musica durante la mia cena. Buon appetito. Ciao.
So there you go. Simple recipes for beginner students, and they are sharing their Italian language and their liking for Italian food. This is what it would look like if we were in a face-to-face environment. I take my students, we do culinary things all the time. So there's a lot going on, but you can still do it successfully online. In fact, talking about online, because of the COVID, we did a virtual showcase in fall 2020, and it was really successful. I don't know if the link will open. I hope so. There we go. And the showcase was 4 days, okay, in October. And we began with a nice presentation on spaghetti Western genre. A lot of people watch Western movies. They have no clue what the difference is between the pistoleros of Italy and the shooters from the Wild West. So I had Dr. Flavia Brizio-Scov, who is a guru on the subject, come one evening and introduce us to the topic. And the other night we had a culinary event. The students decided to share videos of themselves preparing food, and we had a special guest from Italy, a chef who was invited to cook for us as well. And we also had a coffee house, which was the only non-virtual activity that we did. It was the international house that played its role in this for us. And we concluded with a nice Italian culture trivia night. So as you can see, we were able to maintain cultural activities, extracurricular activities, even in the online environment. A topic that my 212 students have to deal with is ecology and environment. It's a big topic that we discuss in our 4th semester in Italian. And usually I send them out into the world and I tell them, I want you to show me how you are really invested in protecting your planet. Do you want to do a study on washable diapers? Well, sure, then go to a place where they produce the diapers, or find out what is interesting about it, what cloth is being used, why is it more healthy? Or do you want to go to Maryville to the recycling plant and tell us all about how they are transforming plastic into fuel and so on. But we're online, we can't do that. And so I tell them, okay, guys, you're going to have to be creative and be environmentally friendly in your home. So this is Michela telling us about
80% dei miei vestiti sono seconda mano. tutti vestiti mi metto qui sono usato. Faccio il shopping di person a Goodwill e online per applicazioni come Depop e ThredUp. Ho sempre una pila di vestiti.
And here's Jack instead, who decided that he was going to use old wood pallets. I don't know where he got the pallets from, but they were in his backyard.
Per proteggere l'ambiente io e la mia famiglia abbiamo costruito mobili ecologici. Abbiamo usato legno di palette vecchio per creare scaffalature per la nostra casa.
There you go.
Per proteggere.
And then we had this glorious class of 315 in full pandemic, and they had to create new products. And they decided, they told me, they said, can we make it new products to help us, to protect us against the virus? And so this group of students, Josia, Jasmine, and Andrea, they came up with a very simple product called Nazini, which is a special kind of lotion that you use. And pretty much this is what happens.
Hai un naso di grande dimensione? Vorrei che fosse più piccolo. Ora.
Then we have the intervention of the doctor. And then finally, we have the situation at place. The virus has caused us to lose our sense of smell, and therefore our noses have been swollen. And so if we use this product, Nazini, that they are offering, we will soon return, hopefully, to our normal selves. And there we are. So again, just playing on all these things in a fun way gives the students the tools to become creative. We had a thing called the Virus Corner, l'angolo del virus. During the pandemic, I invited as many people as I could from Italy directly, because I wanted them to have an exchange with my students. It was a blessing in every way. The students were always prepared with lots of questions. But at a certain point, we had a guest from Bergamo, by the way, already in January and February, one of the worst hit cities in the world for the pandemic. People were dying by the hundreds. And she decided to present herself wearing the costume of a dog. And she said, I am a dog and I am talking about the pandemic. And she told us all about her sufferings that they are taking, that she is going out 30 times a day. She used to take a walk 3 times a day, and now she's going out 30 times a day because everybody wants to take her for a walk with the excuse of going out. And that she doesn't have the opportunity to talk with other dogs because it's too dangerous. And that she can't be out too much when it's very windy because the wind can transport the particles of the virus, and so on and so on. The class thought it was hilarious. And so they decided, let's try to talk about ourselves as something that is exposed to the virus environment, and give us the point of view of a cactus. I'm a cactus in a house surrounded by people with a virus, or I am a dog, or I am a teenager who turned 21 in the virus, and oh my gosh, what am I experiencing? So these are just plays, again, fun plays on a dramatic situation. Normal kind of topics, for my online classes are topics that can be presented by Italian friends. I have here Lucia in Urbino in front of the house of Raffaello Sanzio, the famous painter, who is creating a video for my students. And this is a nice way for them to be in an Italian home, although they are in front of the screen.
Ciao a tutti, questo è il mio appartamento. Questa è la cucina. Questo è il frigorifero con il.
So you see, it doesn't take much to get these kids interested. And of course, the main highlight of her presentation was the bidet. They had no clue what the bidet was, and they were kind of shocked to see that there was this element in the Italian bathroom. So we had a hearty laugh about that. So you can already sense the energy that there is in my classes. The energy in a regular classroom that is face-to-face looks like this. I have to share it with you. this is an example of a presentation they had to do a fashion show. And, you know, there are many more that I could share, but it's just to tell you that we really like to have fun in our classes. And then to conclude, because I would have so much to say, but I know that there's not too much time. Songs, and videos, they are so helpful. Songs can be cultural entertaining, they have a story to tell, they stimulate the imagination, they have students reflect. So songs can be really, how much time do I have left? Do I have any at all?
That'd be 5 minutes.
I have 5 minutes. Yes. Okay. So, for example, if I play them a song like this by Tagaki Ketra, which in the beginning has some English, but the students are going to talk about not giving up, passions, how dancing is a powerful tool to fight anything. So they love to watch dance it.
We don't need these walls. We make the rules and laws. We can't do no wrong. You told me you're ready, you get it, you get it. Yeah, I love your letters, we're melodramatic. And you are my heaven 24/7. I need your honey, I need your lemon. I don't need another reason. You're enough for me. Let's make some memories. E non c'è bisogno di niente. Ai, 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 ai. Quando la notte ti prende. Ai, 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 ai. Tracce nella sabbia.
So besides having so much to talk about, the students end up dancing the dance. I had a group of 5 girls who showed us the dance. They loved it so much. They loved the music. It became the morning wake-up call for them before Italian class. It was fantastic. Or then you can have more irreverent kind of, you know, this is a rapist, J-Ax, who is pretty famous for being a little different in his behavior. He is tendentially irreverent towards anything, and students wonder, why on earth is he wearing a shirt with the Russian president on it, or why is he looking at girls that way, or why is he putting on a pair of virtual glasses to pretend to be on vacation? I can show you a snippet.
Scusatemi, ma ho straboglia di vacanze.
Benvenuto ad un'esclusiva Experience Vacation riservata solo a rapper, /fashion blogger, /influencer, gente che è andata almeno una volta in televisione. Il suo relax instagrammabile è la nostra soddisfazione.
Tutti parlano di fare la vacanza colta, ma poi alla fine vanno dove c'è gnocca. Sai la gente quando il sole la scotta, come Peter Pan vuole fottersi l'ombra. Quando penso agli anni passati, noi così proletari, white trash, altro che bali sognavamo bari, white niente, no, racchettoni sì, racchettoni gavettoni no, ombrelloni né, mani, neanche per gli asciugamani, invece dei castelli con la sabbia facevamo case popolari. Cosa importa se sognavi Puerto Rico?
So that's another example of how to excite them into an interesting discussion about culture and reality, and what on earth is this guy really dreaming for his vacation, and so on. So I wanted to share with you in the chat a link to an article that I published in the end of last year in November, but it has a lot of activities that I do for my online classes. And, you know, you might be interested in reading it and getting some, I read about online activities from other colleagues all the time because I'm always interested in finding new ideas. So thank you so much. And if you have any questions and we don't have time, you can just email me.
We do have one question from Charity. She asked, she's just curious about the software and the apps that the students use to make their videos. I'm assuming it's a variety of them.
Oh yes, you know, my best advice to my students is online or not online, it doesn't matter, but they all have usually access at some point in time to the Hodges Library. I tell them to go to the media center and rent whatever they need. Most times they don't need anything because they already have all the stuff they need. I mean, most of our students already have an iPhone 12, I believe, and that is the highest technology. The video quality is so great. The resolution is fantastic. And so really they, I think they just love to learn to put things together. A lot of my students sometimes tell me that they learned a lot about putting movies together that were useful for their other classes at UT as well. So yeah, it's a learning process.
Thank you, Renee. I mean, um, oh, oh, Chris, I think there's another question in the chat.
Oh yeah, I can read it. When the students choose Italian characters at the beginning of semester, do they come up with their own characters or do you provide a list? No, they have to do everything on their own, Jay. They have to think it up. They have to dream it up. I give them 2 or 3 days to figure it out. If they are lost, of course, then I can try to guide them. But typically the students are very creative on their own.
Okay, I wish we had more time to ask questions, but like she said, if you have further questions, feel free to email her. Thank you, Dr. Zunino, for the great presentation.